I don't really believe in ghosts, but what I saw that day changed everything. Not just my opinion, but me. Laura was the love of my life. I was ready to do anything for her. Heck, I was in love. I still am. When she told me she wanted to move to Rhode Island because New York was too peppish for her, I complied. Being a freelancer, it wasn't a tough decision for me to make. We bought a tiny but magical Victorian house, an enormously windowed 2-story home. What amazed me, however, was the amount of crosses scratched into the interior of the home. Nothing a little laminating couldn't fix. Hey, I'm a Christian too, but this would have freaked out guests. It was a great deal. The realtor even accepted for us to buy it half the price. Should have known there was no free meals. Lovemaking was great. Life was great. When Max, our new puppy, first began to scream at night, he was only a month old. Laura claimed that the dog must always sleep with us on the bed since it was missing its family. Her gentle kindness is what attracted me to her in the first place. One day, while I was finishing up my work for the day, I heard a loud thump come from downstairs. When I went there, I saw Laura had dropped a burnt casserole on the ground and was sitting next to it, crestfallen. Like a good husband, I went to console her. But I just put it in 5 minutes ago. How is this possible? Hey, it's all right, let's just order something. No, she said with a stern voice I had never heard before. I'm gonna make you soup. Okay, as you like, sweetie. You should know that when I was admitted to the hospital for typhoid, they offered me only soup to eat for 2 weeks. It was the worst experience of my life. Please try not to make it like that. She giggled. I loved that, and then went to work. The soup, it wasn't half bad. It was just plain soup. For the next few weeks, every alternate day she made soup for us. Not that I'm complaining, but it was weird. One day, I wanted to surprise her by ordering Chinese food from her favorite franchise. She didn't know it existed in this part of the world. Honey duck wings, drumsticks, I ordered it all, and before dinner time placed it on the table. Excited and, to make it even more cute, I made Max sit on the table. When she came downstairs from her 7 p.m. bath, I saw her gentle little face turn sinister. Believe it or not, her eyes became black when she saw the table. What is this? Your favorite, hun. It's from Hungry Panda. My favorite is soup. Throw this shit out, she said coldly. When I say my heart broke, I drove nearly 7 miles to get it for her, but I tried again. Let's eat this today. We'll have soup tomorrow. Or if you want, you can have some soup after this as well. No! The kind of no I hated. Max, sensing the tension, jumped off the chair and started going under the table. She saw him move, or it saw him move. She leaped towards the little baby and held him by the throat. I lost her that day. I lost the woman I loved that day. Throw it all away, or you won't get to see this little shit anymore. It was almost as if she hissed. Max was trembling, Laura's fake nails digging deep into his throat. In terror, I picked everything up and threw it in the dustbin. Max was closing his eyes by now. I begged her to leave him. I swear I saw her smirk. She released him, and his little body fell on the floor. I rushed towards him and started caressing him. The bitch went onto the stove and mechanically started making soup. When I took Max to the vet the next day, I told him he got entangled with the curtain ropes. The vet informed me that he was startled by what transpired because all the appropriate veins in his neck had been injured. A few extra seconds, and he would have met his maker. This made my spine tingle. She was prepared to snap the young Pomeranian's neck like a twig. That day, I found myself driving extra slow to the house. The woman I couldn't stop myself from meeting became what I resented the most. I considered divorce, but I loved her more than that. Again, big mistake. When I reached home with Max hiding deep in my arms, there she was watching a sitcom. Her expression was blank, and she held a cup, a red cup with soup in it. Disgusted, I took Max with me to the guest bedroom, locked ourselves in, and went to sleep. Don't know whether she noticed me or not. At around 2, I woke up. Max was whining in the blanket. Something was banging on the door. Although not too loud, it had a metallic feel. Unlike in horror films, I was terrified and did not want to investigate. I went under the blanket, held Max tightly and waited for it to stop. It didn't. Went on for an hour until I dozed off. Next morning, I opened the door and saw a ladle on the floor. But not just that. There were red human-like footprints, not just on the floor, but on the wall, on the ceiling, everywhere. Taking a deep breath, I followed the footprints, and they stopped near the master bedroom, the only room we had put a cross in. I broke down. I sat there on the floor and howled. The woman I love turned into this soup-loving psychomaniac because of me. After what seemed like hours, I felt a wet tingle on my face. It was Max. I picked him up and followed the footprints, which went straight to the attic. We had left it closed with 2 padlocks, because there was too many spiders in there, and we didn't want to spend more money on renovating it. When I went inside, I don't think I'll ever move on from this. I saw dead birds, dogs, cats, squirrels, and other animals. Their bodies were flipped inside out. With no minute wasted, I puked. Max leapt from my arms and ran outside. I decided to investigate further and lit up my phone's flashlight. And there she was, naked, sitting in the corner of the room, doing something. With tears in my eyes, I went up to her. "Laura? Baby, come back to me." Nothing. I moved forward. "Please, we'll get help. You'll be fine." I've read about cases like these. People get obsessed with something up to an extent that it's hard for them to leave it. "I'll find you the best doctor in town." Nothing. "Hell, I'll sell this house even. A new life." This did it. She turned around, her face red, something brown and slimy, what I considered to be brain matter, on the side of her lips. She was holding a dead squirrel in her hand, trying to drain it of its blood and pour it into this big soup stock pot we had recently bought. Wait. No, this isn't possible. The soup was too good for it to be this. My entire world started coming down. I felt like puking. Laura smirked and said the last thing I ever heard from her mouth. "We think it's time to move on to humans." That was it. With whatever energy I had left, cloudy-eyed, I ran outside. At one point, I felt something pat me on the shoulder, but when I turned around, there was no one there. I ran out of the house. Max greeted me with a jump. Police told me that the house belonged to the biggest landowner in town. He had around 20 slaves and had left them all to die in the tiny attic of this small house right around when the revolution started. With nothing to eat, they would break each other's fingers and lick whatever was inside. Unfortunately, not one of them survived. Surprisingly, the landowner also passed away shortly after, ironically, while having soup. The house had become an urban legend, and many people had drawn crosses on its walls to keep evil at bay. True or not, I don't consider those slaves to be evil. It felt as if they were being tortured even after their deaths. I rented an apartment and returned to New York with Max. Laura was never found. I want to prepare soup as a tribute to her, something I nearly always eat these days. It never tastes exactly like hers though, no matter what I add to it. Also, surprisingly, I always have this strong urge to kiss Max these days, especially on the throat. I wonder if... Thank you for listening to My Wife Loves Soup by Mountain Log 5316. If you enjoyed this story, please leave a like. And if you enjoy hearing stories from me, please subscribe and become a resident of Hill Street and let me know how I'm doing in the comments. And I hope all of you have a fantastic night.